Here we go. There are camera issues already. Although I left it running for a while without doing anything, which seems to be what pisses the camera off and makes it stop. I don't know. Let me I got to check some audio here. Oh boy, you know what to do while I'm doing that. Look at that. She is appropriately dressed for the season. She's in what appears to be some sort of goose down parka. I gotta find my fucking YouTube app here, son of a bitch. Um, I'm sorry that you have to look at this. There was a time when we'd start the show and you'd look at a picture of a woman with massive breasts, but YouTube doesn't want that, and they explained that. There we go. The audio works. Very good. Glad to hear it. Glad to hear it. Yeah, there was a time we'd start the show with hot chicks on the screen, big titties. It was fun. It was joyful, but that flies in the face of the moral standards set by our righteous overlords at YouTube, and we are but their humble servants. And so we've amended our ways, and instead we start with a modestly dressed woman. And we've got some winter weather hitting us here in the Northeast, so I figured why not a woman in a nice winter jacket. If you would like to watch the stream, if you're listening to the audio version, the Savage Sacktap, available wherever podcasts are downloaded. If you're listening to that and you're like, what's he talking about? What woman? Check out the video stream on YouTube at Mike's Golden Streams, or you can just search Sacktap Live on YouTube. Should be the first thing that comes up. And then, of course, the other social media platforms, Facebook.com/The Savage Crew, Twitter at Mike Montone, Instagram at Gary_Moyler, Moyler. Yeah, and that's that. Tell a couple friends. Let's see if we get a couple more subscribers going. What am I at? Seven something? Let's I think it's like 750 something. Let's get that 800. Let's get it. Let's get it up there. 1,000 by the end of the year would be pretty sweet. That's shooting very low, but that's because I don't put out a whole lot of clips and promote and whatnot. I'm gonna try to start clipping the segments for the YouTube page, but a lot of shit going on, a lot of things to do. So what do you say? We quit fucking around. I quit wasting your fucking time. Camera went out again. Son of a bitch. It is just gonna keep happening. I hate this fucking thing. I hates it. Oh, there is the sexual assault cam. No one wants to see that. And we're back. Oh well. All right. Let's see if we can do this without the camera taking a fucking shit, which it will. Almost a year since the Oscars, and Jada still sucks. Will is still a cuck, and Chris Rock is still the toast of the town. Decidedly not the toast of the town, Jared Fogle, although his back door may very well be the toast of Cell Block D. All that, flopping dad dongs, questions answered, and more in this week's Sacktap Live. It starts right now.
You're listening to the Savage Sacktap. It's not a podcast. It's not a half-cast. It's just a quick shot to the balls to help you finish off the week. We're cutting through the bullshit, filling your Friday with rage-fueled logic, and cracking a few jokes along the way. So grab a bag of frozen peas. There's a Savage Sacktap coming your way.
Smooth, lascivious, salacious, outrageous.
And unfortunately, this woman in the parka does have to come down. We need to make space, as your therapist probably tells you. What are we making space for today? There we go. We have made space. And I am Mike Montone. This is the Savage Sacktap Live. Ahoy to my friends in the comments section. Good to see Goose, Nighttime Conqueror, Cowster. Not a fan of Chris Rock for his treatment of Patrice. I see. Goose breasts. Thank you, Ryan B. And all right. What do you say? What do you say? We just start diving into things. I'm particularly disgusted with society this week, as I am every week. But that's I live in the vicinity of a lot of very disgusting people, and a lot of I've noticed lately is just spitting and loogie hawking, which I think are just fucking disgusting. And I'm not talking about like if you're sitting around with your buddies, you have a contest who can fucking hawk a loogie the farthest or something like that. Like, you know, in the pre smartphone age, everyone would do shit like that. But there's something about men, and it's mostly men. I did hear a woman was like hacking up a fucking lung at the grocery store today. She was like an aisle over from me, and I could just hear this phlegmy cough. I knew who it was because I saw the first fit of coughing, and I got out of there because it was just like, you know when you're watching like a movie about the Middle Ages or a time before modern technology, and they portray a sick person, and it's like really fucking bad. And you find out later that they died of a cold or some bullshit. Like I think George Washington died of like a preventable cold. But she was phlegm hawking all over the goddamn place. But usually it's dudes, and I've just noticed a lot more of it lately for whatever reason. And it's not like they're spitting at me, like walking down the street and spitting at my feet like it's an insult, and I have to defend my honor and fight them. I've just noticed that it's a very prevalent, at least in the urban, the big metropolis that I live in here, that consists of New York City and the outer boroughs and the sort of urban towns of Hudson County. We have a lot of very disgusting dudes who just walk around fucking hawking loogs all over the goddamn place. It is just really, really disgusting behavior. And in combination with a lot of people here, like there's a nice park up the street. It's got a great outdoor gym, pull-up bars, and all that. It's got volleyball courts, tennis courts, basketball, real nice baseball complex. But this is a neighborhood that's being gentrified, so it's still very much a neighborhood of scumbags, but non-scumbags, or at least a different type of not quite scumbags, more like pussies and jerk-offs are moving in. But pussies and jerk-offs make for very nice, clean neighborhoods. Scumbags, not so much. So the very scummy fucking let's just call them the native population of the Jersey City Heights, is they don't seem to give a shit about putting things in garbage cans or whatever, or picking up after their dogs after they take a massive shit. And there are a lot of big dogs in this neighborhood, a lot of big pit bulls and Rottweilers. And they take huge shits, and just for whatever reason, it's not a priority for people to pick that stuff up. So you go out around here, and there's just fucking empty Gatorade bottles, bags, and shit all over the place. People spitting on the fucking ground, broken glass, and dog shit. So it's not an easily navigable environment by foot by any stretch of the imagination. So gentrification just really can't happen fast enough. Like, people who say gentrification is a bad thing have, they've never had to dodge dog shit on the sidewalk at such a high rate. There is something I wanted to check out. I do want to address this. Do you like women spitting on your cock, Mike? Yes, I do. Yeah, I'm fine. I am fine. I'm perfectly fine with that kind of spitting. A nice fucking wad of saliva on your hog, especially if a woman's about to wrap her breasts around it. If it's a chick with a set of tits that's big enough to wrap around your dick and kind of jerk it up and down, she gets it nice and wet with spit. Hell yeah. Absolutely. I hope the question has been answered. Anyway, I wanted to watch this video, and this probably hasn't caught your eye. I don't think this has caught anyone's eye. It caught my eye and a half when I was watching it the other day. I was watching TV the other day, and this came up. This is for the, I guess it's a plaque psoriasis medication called Sotyktu. Tough to pronounce. Take the volume down a little bit there. But we'll watch it. It's a minute long, and then I'll talk to you about, maybe we'll talk as we go.
Found it. The feeling of finding the psoriasis treatment she's been looking for. Sotyktu is the first of its kind, once daily pill for moderate to severe plaque psoriasis for the chance at clear or almost clear skin. It's like the
and this really has nothing to do with her. I probably could have queued the video up somewhere, but
finding that outfit psoriasis tries to hide from you, or finding your.
So this is really the gentleman, the focus here, fucking this dad bod guy with definitely not what I would call a camera friendly package. I feel like if you're going to be the Speedo guy on TV, you want to be bringing a little bit more, and that will factor in later.
Swimsuit is ready for prime time. Dad, once daily Sotyktu is proven to get more people clearer skin than the leading pill. Don't take if you're allergic to Sotyktu. Serious reactions can occur. Sotyktu can lower your ability to fight.
So they set everything up with the father is prancing around in a Speedo, and the daughter walks by and said, "Dad," like it's this adorable thing. And then I always do find it interesting the jobs that they give people in these commercials, where it's like this very nondescript profession that this woman has, where she wears a headset microphone and addresses a bunch of people sitting on very hip furniture, hip uncomfortable furniture. All hip furniture is very uncomfortable. Hip furniture fucking blows. The most comfortable couch is one that has been jerked off and farted on a number of times and just sat on through many an NFL Sunday. It's good and broken in. No one wants to sit on a white cube. But she has some profession that requires a headset mic and, of course, a sleeveless button-down shirt, which she's glad to go back to wearing now that her plaque psoriasis is cleared up. But this isn't about her. This really is about the guy.
Infections, including TB, serious infections, cancer.
So there they are. They're on vacation. They're taking a vacation selfie. He's got the circle beard needs to go. I don't know why people are still using the circle beard. I guess it covers up a double chin. I guess that's the thinking. Sweet Hawaiian shirt, though. They do a good job here, by the way, of keeping his useless bulge well out of frame. Well, not well out of frame, but out of frame enough that it's behind the hepatitis B or C warning.
Including lymphoma, muscle problems, and changes in.
And there's his daughter. They really love in this commercial the theme of the goofy dad embarrassing the daughter, right? He's wearing a Speedo and a Hawaiian shirt. He's a fun guy, right? Probably a fucking blast in college.
Tell your doctor if you have an infection, liver or kidney problems, high triglycerides, or had a vaccine.
So this really bothers me. So dad comes down, daughter's sitting there. We'll go slow-mo. Dad comes down, hands his daughter a drink. We freeze it right there. It won't let me freeze. Oh, here we go. This is enough of a spot to freeze it in. So what we have going on here is a teenage. She looks like she's maybe 11, 12 years old at the oldest. Dad's coming down with a beverage, I guess to kind of make amends. You can bring the daughter into the loop. She'll embarrassed to be with her parents on vacation. This entire commercial, the father has just been parading around with his bulge in his daughter's face. I'm not a parent, So I can't speak to whether this is something that parents of this guy seems maybe he's like a Gen X parent. He's a couple years older, had kids later in life, like he's in his maybe his mid late 40s, or maybe he is closer to my age. Maybe his late 30s, early 40s, but his poor diet and lack of exercise have led him to look older. In any case, he's really putting his daughter perilously close to his penis. And under normal circumstances, like within the context of a real family, I would say that this is terrible. Like, this isn't where her head is right now, is on a perfect level with the tip of her father's penis. Like, if he just went to the bathroom and didn't shake adequately, and a little driblet is forming around his tip, there's probably just a damp spot, like a big kind of shelled damp spot where his helmet is, and it is probably staring his daughter right in the fucking face while he comes over to present her non-alcoholic beverage. Like, she can't even drink this away. This is why kids, this right here, if this is really going on, this is why so many kids are doing fentanyl right now. They just want to be numb. I would get it. If I were her, I would be talking to like every fucking bellboy, chambermaid, fucking concierge, bartender, whoever I could talk to about getting some fentanyl to put myself in a fucking just in a coma for the rest of the trip, because now I've seen my dad's moist tip. And again, this guy doesn't look like he's got much of a hog.
Doctor, if you have an infection, liver or kidney problems, high triglycerides.
And then I'm really upset by this. Kind of blurry the way I stopped it there. This very coy look that he gives his daughter is incredibly upsetting. Like he's letting her know that he's a Speedo dad, and Speedo dad likes to fuck mom. They're probably sharing a hotel room with one of those connecting doors in between so she can feel like she has her own place. And as soon as she goes to sleep, and if she wakes up to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night, she hears the thump, thump, thump of a headboard against her hotel room wall.
High triglycerides or had a vaccine or plan to. So TIC2 is a TIC2 inhibitor.
And now dad's just sitting there like his shriveled pool dick, because he's been in the swimming pool all day. This he's just boozing and hanging out in the pool. They're wherever. Maybe they're staying at one of the resorts off Disney. Maybe this is a Disney family. They're grown-up Disney parents. His shriveled wiener is sitting. It's perched on top of his testicles, and it's being supported by this tight red Speedo. And it's just fucking, his huge thighs are kind of crushing it and pushing it up. So it sits in that little valley that your thighs make when you put them together. If you have, like, I have big quads, which are, somewhat similar to fat guy thighs. You push them together, and there's sort of just like, there's like a valley that forms in between your quads. And that's where, if you were to sit with your legs together, that your genitals would just kind of nest atop it. And that's what's going on here as his 6th grade daughter sits down feet away from him. She shouldn't be smiling like this. She should be very, very upset. Now she's leaning against his thigh. Like, I bet this guy's got a real dad smell to him. Like, he wears Right Guard deodorant. He's got maybe like a greasy, it's not an incredibly hairy thigh, but just enough wisps. You're leaning against his fucking clammy fucking hotel swimming pool skin. They're going flesh to flesh right now, and his dick's 18 inches away.
It's not known if Sacktap has the same risk.
Good, she's back to
as
giving
use.
presentations.
Plaque psoriasis has been hiding. Ask your dermatologist about Sacktap for clearer skin. So clearly you. Sacktap.
If you'd like to bring your dick really close to your young daughter, ask your dermatologist about Sacktap. But what really bothers me about this commercial is not all of this happening again within the context of a real life family would be incredibly disturbing. This is what the writers for Sacktap's their ad campaign, whoever the genius is, the John Hams of Sacktap, this is what they came up with. They were like, like any normal American family where dad shows his daughter the outline of his cock at a tropical resort, you too can use Sacktap. Like, this got by everybody. People approved it. They made some graphics for it, costume. They went out. They scouted locations. They got the kid. They probably assuming some kind of waiver had to be signed. Like, hey, are you comfortable being this close to this stranger's dick? All sorts of steps had to be taken for this ad to be brought to us. And no one at any point was like, hey, what if we had them doing anything but this? Anything other than this that requires shirtlessness, like fucking playing a pickup basketball game, swimming in a pool, but with not with the kind of thing that you might wear before fucking a chick on a waterbed in 1975. Just anything other could have been they could have been going, the husband and wife would have been going for a couple's massage. It just could have been the guy at a doctor's appointment. Maybe he's doing labor out in the fucking backyard, and the kids go to bring him a lemonade. That's a great way to show people that if you take Sacktap, your daughter will no longer be horrified by your awful plaque psoriasis, but without constructing this reality in which it's a common part of the shared American family experience that the kids get real close to dad's penis, is what I'm saying. So I just wanted to point that out to the people. Oh, Thomas Hager's here. Good to see you. Very good, JD. Mike keeps chatting. Oh, it is good. It is good to see Uncle Paul in the in the comments section. Always fun. Yeah. I also, the guy reminds me of Mark Schlereth. If you watch enough like NFL pregame shows, I think he might actually do some of the Fox broadcasts. What was that? The camera go out again? Son of a bitch. We're coming back, don't you worry. There we go. Okay. Let's get Sacktap out of the way. So it's been a while since I've done a Dear Abby. Oh yeah, tart cherry juice, baby. It's been a while since I've done a Dear Abby. You guys, if you've been watching this stream for a long time, you know I love a good Dear Abby. And this one popped up in the New York Post the other day, so I figured, why not? It's Dear Abby. I found out today that my wife was sexting with a man in another state. His girlfriend sent me a message which included a series of screenshots. I'd confronted my wife regarding this prior to receiving the messages, but she swore she had only sent one topless photo and nothing else. After I reviewed the messages, I saw much more. And what an opening defense from the wife, by the way. Like, her defense is that she only sent this guy one picture of her tits, which is interesting. That'd be like if Koberger was. I only stabbed one of them once. I don't know what the fuck happened with the rest. Someone else came in after me, cleaned up. Because at first this is I think you look at it like, is this a come clean moment? She's admitting it? It's a one-time thing. Sure. But I think the larger point here is that if you get to the point where you, as a married woman, are sending tit pics to a guy in another state, then a lot more has to be going on, right? You have to have gotten into a sexually charged conversation with the other guy, and that eventually led to the exchanging of the nudes. And of course, the guy's in another state, so even though it's hard for that particular individual to come and dump a load on those particular tits in person, you have to understand that if your wife is sending pictures of her tits to guys in another state, then there's also a very good chance that guys maybe in the neighborhood have also seen your wife's heavies. So very, very disconcerting to start. She claims she doesn't remember everything, which I find hard to believe. Worse, they had planned to meet. She claims she didn't, but I saw a message saying that once I went back home, we were visiting her parents, she would stay an extra week with our son so she could spend more time with the grandparents, and she could maneuver to meet up with him. She claims she didn't, but I can't believe her based upon her lying repeatedly about this. Wild stuff, by the way. What a dirty girl. She takes her kid to visit his grandparents, and all she can think of is getting some nice hot cock. And by the way, if you out there took a lot of trips to see your grandparents as a kid, you now have to contend with the possibility that you were only going so that mom could bang a guy that she met on the internet. Anyone born after the invention of the internet has to contend with that. So if you're out there, if you're like 20 years old or so, and you remember being 5 years old going to visit grandma and grandpa in another state, it could very well have been just because your mom wanted to get dicked down by some guy that she met on fucking MySpace or in a chat room or something like that. So interesting stuff. And the I don't remember everything line is also pretty slick. Like, it's 2023. It's all tracked. There's a digital record on everything. You don't have to remember anything anymore. It's all right there. Fucking if I were to dive deep enough into like my fucking DMs or some shit, like, I'd probably find cringe ass messages that I sent to chicks back in like my early 20s, like whenever Facebook Messenger first popped up. Like, it's fucking there. Which is wild stuff. Yeah, I guess you gotta be careful with that. Like, you accidentally step into your wife's fucking DMs from fucking Facebook, and you by some accident wind up scrolled down to like 2006, and she's talking to a guy from some fucking fraternity about how she got spit roasted by him and some guy named Moose the night before at a kegger. Tricky. Be careful. There is a record of everything. Like the Murdaugh. Think of the Murdaugh murders, right? 70 years ago, the Murdaugh murders would have been blamed on a couple of black guys, right? That is it's South Carolina. That is what they would have done. They would have found two black guys smoking pot somewhere. They would have arrested them. They would have blamed them. They would have executed them. And this guy would have gone free. He would have been a martyr in the town. Now we have Snapchat video of the father at the crime scene minutes before the shooting. And everyone's like, oh yeah, that guy did it. So the digital footprint is just very hard to escape. Anyway, this cuck continues. We have a child together, so I don't want to walk away, but I'm deeply hurt and I no longer trust her. It's a good call. I know you will recommend marriage counseling, but beyond that process, is there anything I should do? Yeah, I don't know that marriage counseling is what solves this. I think this is one of those situations where you got to be brutally honest with the kid, tell him that mommy was bad and went outside of the marriage and what that means. Like, talk to the kid like a fucking person, explain it. It'll be shocking and upsetting, but there's probably a very honest Mr. Rogers way to do it, like with puppets or something like that. And one of the puppets has like a little camera and she's standing in a bathroom mirror taking pictures of her tits with one hand's fucking reaching down and starting to rubber mound a little bit. And then she sends it to some fucking guy in another state who I don't know what what are the qualities of a man who seduces a whore like this. Like, is he a ladies' man, or is he like drinking Monster Energy drink, hanging out at a 7-Eleven, farting into a pair of camo cargo shorts, and these are just two scumbags who are sort of destined to be with each other, vacationing in Daytona Beach for the rest of their lives. It's a very curious thing. This really isn't, I don't know, something you see that often. But in any case, the kid needs to know what happened, because the mother is going to have a good amount of influence in socializing the child, right? Even if you get divorced, they're not going to take the kid away from the mother completely. There's still going to be a visitation situation, and she's going to be the one socializing him, teaching the difference between right and wrong and all that. Your kid needs to go into that with a sort of contextual understanding that mommy is a whore, and should be taken with a grain of salt whenever she passes on a life lesson of any kind. For Abby's part, here's what she said. Dear Lost, your wife has always been this way. Or has your wife always been this way, or is this behavior something new? She seems to be severely allergic to the truth. By all means, attempt marriage counseling if she's willing. However, if she isn't willing, have some counseling without her, and start interviewing attorneys to represent you in what is likely to be a divorce. Without trust, there can be no marriage. P.S. Save those messages and images the girlfriend sent you, because they could come in handy. Yeah, Abby gets it. Like, she doesn't fuck around. She doesn't beat around the bush. If Abby looked on her husband's phone and she saw pictures of some broad's tits all over it, she'd take him to court, she'd cripple him financially, and then she'd use some of the money that she won in the suit to pay a comely sorority sister to seduce her ex-husband and cut his penis off. Like, Abby she's ruthless. She's not allowing this kind of thing to go unanswered. But yeah, wanted to check that out. Do the boys in the comments section have questions? I will answer this. I am approaching my second surgery. I have surgery May 4th right now. We're tentatively scheduled for. They wanted to do it back in the over the fall or the winter, but I have a half marathon that I'm training for, and I didn't want to interrupt the training cycle because you can't work out with stitches in your face. So I just pushed off the follow up until after the fucking the thing. It's absolutely true, El Guso. That yeah, you can't make a hoe into a housewife. That is quite accurate, and it's an important lesson to learn. Many men will try it. Hoes do bring the best pussy because they know how to throw that ass around. But in the end, if you fall in love with a hoe, you do have to be prepared to deal with the consequences of your decision. It's a very live by the gun, die by the gun situation. All right, what's next? I'll pop this up onto the screen, but I don't want to play it yet because I do want to give a quick piece of context. Although you guys may have seen this already, it was certainly making the rounds. Apparently, Jared Fogle is a really, really bad guy. New York Post, subway guy Jared Fogle's predator calls revealed. Let me see your kids naked. Rochelle Herman's monster quest for justice veered too close to home. The former radio and television host secretly recorded countless hours of conversation with ex-Subway spokesperson Jared Fogle in an effort to prove he was a child predator. And will you let me see your kids naked? Fogle shockingly asked Herman, a mother of a then 10-year-old daughter and 11-year-old son, in one such taped exchange. This is not, I don't think this is that one. This might be a different one. You just wind it back to the beginning. Let's see what Jared had to say.
Descriptive.
I want to know what excites you.
Well, I had a little boy. I don't know, it was amazing.
Yeah, tell me.
Oh, it was so hot, baby. It was so hot. Would you rather have a little boy or a little girl as you?
Fucking, you just never want to be her. I don't know if he's heard this footage yet. I don't know what the deal is. I haven't watched a documentary. I've just seen the clips, but that's not a good clip to have out there. There's no context where you could explain that one away. And then I guess he also asked, will you let me see your kids naked? Fogle shockingly asked Herman. Which also, even if you're really, really into molesting kids, is a wild fucking question to ask. Like, you would have to find a really outwardly, observably bad and greedy parent and come prepared to dangle a shitload of cash in front of them, so that you could make them complicit in the whole thing, and not report you. Otherwise, that is just, I mean, what do you, how fucking, I mean, look, I know men, we are known to do and say stupid things when we get a little frothed up, but it's got to be one of those things where you understand the risks involved and you take steps to mitigate them, and you don't just come out and say, at least use a code word or some, Jesus fucking Christ. That question marked a stomach-churning turning point for Herman. That was a very crucial, pivotal, critical point in my life, she told the Post. I feel as though I died that day. Her covert operation also revealed chilling conversations in which Fogle expressed interest in children's nice, pure bodies. He expressed interest in children's nice, pure bodies. Why don't you take a seat? Suggested he and Herman should try and get some child porn videos to watch together, and even gushed about a sexual encounter with a little boy on a trip to Thailand. Like, yeah, dark web and chill. I mean, the vibe I'm getting is, this is very reminiscent of, if you've ever gone on a bachelor party to it's like a particularly wild city, that's like really known for a good, like a Montreal or New Orleans or something like that, there's always the guy on the trip who is, he got married really, really early, maybe like 25 years old, to some kind of sort of plain Jane chick that he met right after graduating. He met her at like a happy hour, just moved out of his parents' place. He's doing the whole thing, living in an apartment, meets a chick at a happy, and just, it turned into a fucking, a cuffing season relationship that turned into a fucking marriage that he never saw coming, but he did it because he's like, all right, this is what you do. You check those boxes. Instead of actually living life, you just kind of exist to check boxes along the way. And now they have a sexless marriage, and they have a couple 9-year-olds draining their souls and their bank accounts. And they can't, these kind of guys can never stand their fucking wives, because the women who get into those kind of marriages they leaned too far into the whole idea of being a mom. And of course, being a mom brings with it things like a shitload of wine and snack foods and no exercise. And they wind up resenting their kids because the kids have stolen energy, the energy that their wife previously applied to doing things like giving blowjobs. And the kid sucks at Little League because the resentful father doesn't want to teach them how to hit or catch. And then, at 30, that guy goes to blow off some steam at like a strip club in fucking Reno or Vegas or wherever, with a sex-trafficked 19-year-old because he's reliving the glory days with his college buds. That Jared Fogle sounds like that, but with molesting kids. Which isn't good. Those recordings, as well as revelations from 2 victims of Fogle and his one-time key associate, Russell Taylor, are laid bare in a jarring new docuseries, Jared from Subway, Catching a Monster, premiering March 6th. Well, that was a couple days ago. The program includes numerous other horrific, never-before-heard statements by Fogle from the covert operation by Herman, who became an FBI asset. Fogle declined to participate in the docuseries. I mean, yeah, I don't know what you do. What do you have? Would you like to explain yourself? And we saw how it went for R. Kelly. Like, there's just nothing there. Once they got you on video, and we were talking about this earlier with the Dear Abby situation. It's the digital age. Like, once they got you, they got you. Fogle famously lost 245 pounds eating Subway sandwiches before becoming the company's pitchman. When he wasn't filming commercials, going to schools to talk about diet and exercise, and raking in millions of dollars as the company's public face. What fucking schools, by the way, were hiring Jared Fogle to talk about diet and exercise? What? I mean, I guess it's like when they bring in the reformed gang member to tell, like they used to bring in this guy Stanley Tukey Williams. They executed him, but he was a gang member who I guess he killed a cop or something like that, and he was fucking jacked. And he used to go out and talk to kids about not joining gangs because you'll wind up on death row like he was. So I guess the idea is they bring in Jared, and they're like, look, you fuck around like I did, you're going to wind up 245 pounds overweight. You're going to have to eat these shit sandwiches to get back down to a normal size. Look what happened to my pants. Fucking, I was so disgusting that even the children who I was forcing to lick my genitals eventually stopped doing it. He was hanging out with Will Ferrell, George W. Bush, Fuzzy Muppet pals Kermit and Miss Piggy, plus sharing his stories and interviews with Oprah, Larry King, Piers Morgan, and more. Fogle, a father of 2, Jesus Christ, was preying on underage kids. Yeah, I feel like he's pals with. You have to be really suspicious of any adult who's friends with Kermit and Miss Piggy, right? Like if you're that's not you wouldn't be interested in those things as a grown up. Like this is like when rappers and NBA players strike up friendships because they're both into overweight white women. Like that's not there's nothing it's nothing else. Like that's we understand it's like a transactional fucking thing. The initial exchange with Fogle that spurred Herman into action took place while taping a TV show segment at a Sarasota, Florida school in 2006. Fogle didn't realize his and Herman's microphones were hot, and that's when he first revealed his inner thoughts. He leaned over to me, and above a whisper, he leaned over and said how hot he thought middle school girls were. Like, what do you even... I know what he said was exactly how he felt. I knew that there was something very sinister about this man, beyond the smile and friendly presentation that he puts off that was truly a mask. You almost want to meet him to find out what this vibe is like. The only person I know who ever got caught doing kid stuff was this guy in my physics class in college. And even that was with, it was like with a teenager. It wasn't like this. And it's obviously, you don't want to hang out with Jared Fogle, but there is a sort of, as a curiosity, right? If there were a zoo of human behavior and it was sort of an immersive experience where you could sit down and have a cup of coffee with a guy who you knew was a child molester. He's a child molester, but he doesn't know that he's a child molester. Or they do like a before and after thing. You sit down, you have a coffee with him, and then afterwards they, inform you that he was a child molester, and then you go have a cup of coffee with him again, so you can kind of see the difference, like a sort of a touch tank, right? Where you touch, this one's spiky, this one's slimy. Like this, he molested kids. He didn't. They should do that. Like as part of prison time, I think that would be kind of fun. Like, ISIS. Like if we have ISIS guys like that locked up, like what's it like to go in and play, whatever, like just mundane stuff with a guy from ISIS. Like we play Madden with a guy from ISIS. I feel like that would be kind of a cool thing and a good way to fund jails, right? And you can teach the lessons to the kids. You do a little scared straight thing, all that shit. But it really is, it's the boldness of Jared Fogle that blows my mind, because I mean, I guess if you have sandwich weight loss money, that's just what, you're that rich, you think you can get away with anything. But to say it in a school of all places, like it's almost like he wanted to get caught, or he thought he was so above the law that nobody could ever take him down. Which, I guess it's ego, right? Because the only thing that could make you as fucking so confident in the protection that your status as Jared from Subway, right? You made a lot of money selling sandwiches. Like you don't, you're not a political operator. You don't have dirt on fucking, billionaire. You're not Jeff Epstein. Like even Epstein he had an island. He had Ghislaine go out and pick up the chicks. Like he really tried to avoid it. This guy's talking about it in a fucking school with another parent. He's just talking about openly about how much he loves molesting children. Like this might be one of the biggest miscalculations of all time. You're not in the CIA. You're not in the mafia. You're not a Clinton, a Trump, an Epstein, Mossad. You are a guy who ate sandwiches. You looked non-threatening in an oversized pair of pants. At no point were you given carte blanche to molest kids. I don't know who put that in his head. Fogle wasn't the only one. Fogle, you know what, before I continue, Jared Fogle is a guy who has to go to Thailand or Cambodia to do his molesting. He is not a molest in the continental U.S. and get away with it guy. He's a go to a country where they look the other way on it and you can molest. And people fucking, they like the pants pictures, so they'll ignore the fact that you travel to that part of the world way more than anyone should. Fogle wasn't the only one in his inner circle wearing a mask. Taylor, his globe-trotting Jared Foundation executive, dated and later married Indiana native Angela Baldwin and became stepfather to her two children, Hannah Parrott and Christian Showalter. He entered their lives in 2012 when they were about 10 and 13 years old, respectively. When we first met him, he was very charismatic, flashy, and outgoing. And I guess they say that their mother started going out with this guy, and she starts going out a lot and partying. Like, you know, I've gone out. I've done a lot of drugs. I've hung out with a lot of people who've done a lot of drugs, done a lot of drinking. I've never met anyone who, while out partying, was so into drugs that they would allow wealthy men to videotape their naked children to fund their drug habit. For Baldwin, that even meant agreeing to place hidden cameras throughout these people are fucked up. These people are fucking sick. So that Taylor, an amateur videographer, I don't really know what that means, though, an amateur videographer. I mean, technically, anyone who takes a video and doesn't get paid for it is an amateur videographer, but that's probably beside the point. Jared Taylor. Jared was the puppet master, and then Russell and my mom were the puppets. In April 2015, Taylor was arrested for possession of child porn, found to have more than 500 explicit images in his home, according to the docuseries. Baldwin was later implicated in and arrested for the production and possession of child sex abuse material. Well, I mean, this Taylor guy, and I mean Fogle, obviously, but Fogle probably was, talked about plenty in his hometown after he got the Subway ads. But this Taylor guy was definitely the talk of his latest high school reunion, or will be when it goes down. And there's no way that Russell Taylor was popular growing up. The conversations are going to be like, hey, remember that fucking loser Russell Taylor, the guy from phys ed and home ec who used to look at us weird? Yeah, it turns out he was arrested with Jared Fogle. You kill for one of those. You kill for a high school reunion story like that. I love a good high school reunion story. And if you went to high school with Russell Taylor, then you have got some great stories to tell when you go to your high school reunion. Just months later, in August 2015, Fogle was arrested, charged with the porn distribution and engaging in commercial sex acts with underage commercials. So does that mean Jared Fogle starred in child porn? Interesting. Prosecutors tack on charges in tricky ways, though. And only 15 and a half years. And that was in 2015. So he's out in 7. I don't know if, I wonder if this, I really wonder if this is like, if they can tack anything on, or if that would be double jeopardy, or if it happened in a different state. There's got to be a prosecutor out there. They got to be looking for more charges for this. Like, this is, there are very few people who I'm in favor of keeping locked up forever, but this is the kind of thing where it's like, yeah, either that or some sort of chemical castration or something. And the worst, obviously, the worst part about this is obviously the child sex, but like the total worst is if you weren't even diddled by Jared Fogle, but you were just fucking just taken advantage of by people who fucking like this guy was the stepfather, so the mother was complicit, allegedly, I guess, in making these videos. So it's like, yeah, whatever. Like, you get molested by Jared Fogle. Like, that really fucking sucks. Like, that's not a good thing to have happen to you. But it's far more traumatic to have the people who your mother is responsible for your emotional safety and security, and she betrayed that in furtherance of your sexual exploitation. That makes it even worse. Like, if you had no idea what could make molestation worse, it's your mother recording you so that grown men can jerk off to your body without your knowledge. That might actually be more traumatizing than getting molested by the sandwich guy. Wild stuff. You have to assume if Fogle gets out of jail in 7 years, someone is going to take care of it, right? Like, that's no one is like that. Somewhere out there is someone who is a victim as a child and is seeing this go down, and they're like, yeah, literally as soon as he steps out of fucking, like, I'll follow him to Cambodia and just fucking just get him. Like one of those, like Christopher in The Sopranos when he kills the cop who killed his father. And it's after the guy's retirement party. Like, is that the fucking guy in the sombrero? And he's waiting in the house for him. Like, Jared Fogle's going to check into a lavish Airbnb somewhere in Laos. And he's going to be ready to, order up a couple boys. And the door's going to ring. And it's going to be someone who was molested as a kid. She's going to fucking whack him. Just what a fucking piece of shit. What a disgrace of a human being. And obviously, that is not earth-shattering commentary, but you think about it, you're always like, oh yeah, Jared Fogle, he was the guy who did the molesting. Then you read the details and you see how people were actually affected by it, and you're just like, yeah. I feel like everyone is in agreement on what they would like to see happen to Jared Fogle. Next segment. The dad on Seventh Heaven. Oh my god. There are compilations out there of the dad on Seventh Heaven, and watching them within the context now, knowing that he was doing all that stuff, make them even more hilarious, because it's like him coming up and grabbing the kids and scaring them and shit, or like rubbing them. It's fucking wild. Thomas, it's a very interesting cut. We kill dogs when they bite kids, but we try and rehab adults who fuck them. Interesting. That's I'd never even given much thought to that. Anyway, all right, brother man. And we will let's move on to the final topic of the evening. I still have not watched the Chris Rock special. It takes me forever to watch things. I catch up on stuff late. But Chris Rock did the Netflix special, and of course, it wouldn't be the Pinkett Smiths can't not opine on things. They can't not shut the fuck up. They have that stupid red table. Just, the least likable couple in Hollywood. Like Jeff and Ghislaine Maxwell were a more likable celebrity couple than Will and Jada. Like they're up there. You have to think that Will and Jada are up there with Meghan and Harry in terms of just annoying fucking people to be around. Will Smith hurt over Chris Rock's comments in the Netflix special. All eyes are on the slap heard round the world again as Oscars 2023 looms this coming Sunday. I wonder, they're going to make it, and people are going to watch because they're going to wonder if something's going to happen, I feel like. But I feel like they're going to make this such a dull fucking affair, and which it usually is. Award shows to me are the dumbest fucking things. I have no desire to watch them at all. Whatever the shock moment is, or whatever everyone's talking about the next day, I have no use for any of these people. They're not interesting to me. Very few celebrities are interesting to me. Musicians are kind of cool, but I'm not like a huge music fan. But at least with like if you write your own music and you've taught yourself to play an instrument, there's an intelligence there that I can kind of find fascinating. With actors and actresses, so many of them are just they're just self-indulgent douchebags who pretend. They're just good at pretending things. I think Joe Rogan, I think put it really well, called them empty vessels that you can just fill up with whatever. And it's like, all right, one day you're a superhero, and the next year a finance guy, and the next year the president, the next year a baseball player. And they aren't, so they're always someone else, so they never become whoever the fuck they are. Which is also why when you find like a really interesting actor, I think it's kind of cool, and I think people like them, and they wind up resonating a lot more. But most of Hollywood's the sort of A-list who do the big movies and everything, who really have to become the role and all this different shit. So many of them are just such self-indulgent fucking cocks that they're unlikable. And comedians, especially their public personas, are so likable because they're pointing out the sort of shortcomings of society, right? They're the ones saying what everyone else is thinking. That the juxtaposition there, when you get a Chris Rock versus the Pinkett Smiths, is massive. The famed funny man used his latest stand-up special to verbally clobber Smith for slapping him on stage. There's a source out there. The post is calling the source an insider. Will is embarrassed and hurt by what Chris said about him and his family in his Netflix special. Well, his family they're douchebags. His fucking kid sucks. His wife sucks. I was never a huge fan of Will. Certain things Independence Day was great. Independence Day was great. And I don't know what else. I thought Fresh Prince sucked. It didn't do it for me. Blasphemy as a member of my generation to say that, I know. And I have had to live through many, many years of being, you're out at the bar at a party or something like that, and people are talking about childhood shows, and some guy who isn't like funny or interesting starts talking about Fresh Prince and like quoting lines and shit from the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and now he attracts like the funny attention in the room because he remembers a show that a lot of people did watch, even though the show fucking sucked. So then you got to do is you got to get like a fucking onion out of the vegetable bowl if you're at like a party and just beat him in the fucking nuts to get him to shut the fuck up for a while. And people think it's hilarious because secretly at least a third of the room also hated Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and want this asshole to shut the fuck up. In any case, Will apologized. Let me continue. He didn't watch it, but he had people tell him what Chris said, the insider went on, adding that Will and Jada have seen comments about it. Will apologized to Chris and would like for Chris to let it go. I mean, I think Chris Rock decides when to let it go. Smith reportedly feels Netflix made a disgraceful move airing Rock's special. It's funny because a lot of people probably think that what was disgraceful was getting out of your seat and hitting a man during a live performance because your wife gave you an angry look after she spent, months and years fucking other men and wishing that she hadn't married you. That's what people find disgraceful, actually. The Academy will have a crisis team to help avoid any similar beatdowns at Sunday's ceremony. That is one of the things I love about America is we like to overreact to shit. Like, none of these pussies is going to beat anybody up. Like, yep, I guess it did happen, but not again, right? We like to overreact to things, right? With the TSA and the Patriot Act, like we go hard in one direction or the other. So now we have a crisis team on hand at the Academy Awards. Bill Kramer, the CEO of the Academy, says, "We've run many scenarios, so it's our hope that we will be prepared for anything that we may not anticipate right now, but that we're planning for just in case it does happen." Wouldn't you love to be there when they're trying to figure out, like, what the possible things that could go wrong were? Because again, Chris Rock making a joke about how Will can't satisfy his wife and Jada's out fucking half of the country, resulting in that wasn't even what the joke is about. It was about her stupid fucking haircut, right? G.I. Jane 2. Can't wait to see. And also Chris Rock didn't even make the cuckold joke. That's right. That's tremendous. It was everybody else making the cuckold jokes, and then Chris Rock makes a joke about the hair, and then the bald woman who's been fucking everybody angrily looks at her husband behind whose back she's been, I guess, open relationship. Yeah. She's been fucking these people and making their marriage a laughing stock, and then he had to do it. Of course, I had to jar my memory. I didn't see it live when it happened because I didn't, as with this year, I didn't watch the Academy Awards. The funny man accused Smith of venting anger over his wife's May to December affair with singer August Alsina, which the couple later discussed on her online Red Table Talk show. Yeah, I mean, that's it, right? That's the funny part. That's the ridiculous and the entertaining part. Your wife's been banging a rapper that nobody really knows. Like, August Alsina isn't exactly top fucking G. He's not Drake. People give Bruce Willis a pass with the Ashton Kutcher thing because you're like, all right, Ashton Kutcher's big star, bang Demi. Like, what are you gonna, what are you gonna do? These things happen. But August Alsina, when you're Will Smith, come on, get the fuck out of here. And then you go on the fucking Red Table Talk, and you have to have this deeply intimate discussion so that your stupid fucking hateable wife can get some clout. No shit. I don't want to step on I don't want to step on Chris Rock's bit here. They have a bunch of his jokes. Another source told People magazine they're very, very upset. There are people out there who are upset on Jada and Will's behalf, which is hilarious to me. Those people are like those are the people who, like, they're trying to score points somewhere. Like, they're just trying to score some fucking points somewhere. Source told People Jada has had no part in all of this other than being heckled. Actually, she had a huge part. It was when she banged August Alsina and then kind of coerced her husband into talking about it on an internet stream. Chris is obsessed with her, and that's been going on for almost 30 years. Look where he chose to film his Netflix special, her hometown of Baltimore. Obsessed. The Insider went on to recall that Chris, who compared alopecia sufferer Jada's shaven head to that sported by Demi Moore and G.I. Jane, had joked about her attempts to highlight a lack of black members of the Academy Awards body in 2016 in his recent Netflix special, but insisted his claims that she had told him to quit the Oscars were totally untrue. Yeah, what was he made that awesome joke about how he's protesting Rihanna by not having sex with her or something like that. If no one invited Jada to win an Oscar, that you can't protest. The Root's Candace McDuff, a senior editorial staffer for the Geo Media-owned online publication, came on CNN to discuss the aftermath of Chris's Netflix special, where he eviscerated Will and Jada Pinkett Smith for the hit scene Around the World. According to Candace McDuff, this is incredible. According to her, Chris was simply being held accountable by Will at the time for attacking a black woman, which McDuffie says was part of a larger pattern in this country, and which she says Chris has been guilty of in his comedy even before targeting Jada's alopecia. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. How the fuck? And leave it to CNN. Leave it to CNN to bring on, to find someone to explain to us that Chris Rock was being held accountable for making fun of Jada Pinkett Smith's alopecia. Alopecia, by the way, it's a fancy term for hair loss, which most men will go through. Fucking at I saw a fucking picture of myself this afternoon from what year is it? It's 2023. Saw a picture of myself from fucking 2015. I I would like to have that hair back too. But fucking no dice. Sorry, Jada. Fucking glaring at your husband until she assaults a fucking comedian is not striking a blow on behalf of black women. That's not what it is. In fact, I feel like it weakens black women because it's you needed a man to go do this. You needed to make a black guy go attack another black guy. That feels like it's not helpful for anyone. That's certainly not good. But anyway, too long didn't read. Jada fucking stinks. She sucks. Just she is that woman who, when you go to a social gathering and the couple leaves, the instant the door closes, everyone looks around and they're like, how the fuck does he do it? How does he do it? It must be a nightmare. And why? Why? You're Will Smith. You have Will Smith money. You could have the overwhelming majority of the world's female population if you so desired, right? A few holdouts who are maybe in your social or financial strata who can't be, lured by that kind of thing, but you could have your pick of the litter, and you just want this frigid, awful human being who doesn't respect your manhood or the rules of polite society. She truly is just a terrible, terrible person. We get that out of the way. A lazy respiratory system, you son of a bitch. I do like to get a little baked before I do these things. Sorry, not sorry. Anyway, let's get this broad back up on the screen. Give us a second to kind of say goodbye here. Fuck she at. Here we go. Oh, I'm a huge Bell fan. I support Bell. I want to see him get back in the scene. I think people need to put Bell on their shows. Doug Bell really is the name in comedy that I think more people want to hear. I can't carry Doug Bell's voice long enough to read this Fresh Prince Rotten Topics comment. But if you're listening to the audio version and you can't see these comments coming up and you don't know who Doug Bell is, I really, really highly suggest that you go check out Doug Bell's show. He's on YouTube as well. When you're done watching this, find you some Bell, enjoy. Excellent work in the comments section this evening, fellas. Should be live next week. I have to go to the fucking St. Patrick's Day parade during the day to get some video and hopefully find some drunk people doing entertaining things. I will do my darndest to get on that night. I don't anticipate it being a problem. I can't imagine why I'd be out at the St. Patrick's Day parade until 8 p.m. So should be able to pull that one off. What else? Please. Oh yes, of course. Please tell your friends if you have friends. I mean, you're watching this garbage at 8:00 on a Friday night, so maybe you don't. But if you do, tell them come on down. Tell them give us a subscribe and a like and join the fun that we have here. It's fun. It's good. It's wholesome. We have women in lovely winter jackets, and we have a good time. And Thomas Hager tells me, don't come to Manasquan or Belmar unless you want your nips touched. Don't make it easy for me by going to Point either. Wow, you are really limiting. Hager is really limiting the number of shore towns I can go to without getting molested. That is something. Anyway, guys. I will catch you guys next time. Adios, motherfuckers. Check out all the pages at Mike's Golden Streams on YouTube, at Gary_Moyler, Moyler on Instagram, at Mike Montone on Twitter. Yeah, fare thee well. Adios, bitches.